Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there, just to let me know that it's working. Hope everybody's having a pretty good morning so far. Hopefully your trading's been good. Obviously, good week so far. Let's see if we can end it right. Yeah, let's jump into this. Before we jump into any trading, just quickly go over the disclaimer. As always, I just need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than you initially invest if you're not careful. Please manage your stop loss and know how many pips you're risking and how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose. Any trades I take are not necessarily recommendations. You're welcome to take them, but I'm not a financial advisor. All right, guys, let's jump into this. So quick thing as we look for a banker's close opportunity. The only news this morning, we had non-farm payroll this morning. We don't need to go into all the details of that other than came out a little bit better than expected. We had same thing with the CAD. They had their equivalent this morning. So I'm going to try to stay away from anything CAD and dollar. Although we are kind of far away from that news, nonetheless, I'm going to stay away from it. And then COT report wise, we're going to look for, anything related to these pairs if we can first. So Euro Franc, Euro Kiwi, or just anything that agrees with this concept right here. So anything short the Euro would be good. Here's the Euro Kiwi. It's kind of close to setting up a banker's close opportunity. Let's look at that Euro pound from yesterday and the day before. It looks like it was a nice little opportunity earlier, but it's not really creating that setup right now. So I might skip that one. Let's look at some of these others. Let's skip that one. There's not a lot of volatility this morning. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but yeah, I'm just going to quickly look and find us an opportunity that looks pretty good. Again, we're staying away from the CAD. That's not necessarily terrible. This one right here, the Franc Yen, I might come back to that. Euro Aussie, no. I said Franc Yen was the other one. No, I'm going to stay away from the CAD. Euro Franc, not necessarily bad. I actually might do this one. Especially because this is the number one currency to short this week. That's not a terrible setup. Not the best either, but anyway, let's continue to look. Euro Yen, similar to the Euro Franc. This may be an opportunity. I think I'd rather do the Euro Franc though over that. Euro Kiwi, same thing, a little bit looking okay. Euro dollar, again, we're skipping out on the dollar, although those will probably be fine. Like the pound euro dollar will probably have a great setup. I'm staying away from it. No CADs, right? Pound Franc, how about this? Nope. Needs to be, basically what I'm looking for is anything that's puncturing through the upper or lower Bollinger Band, and that's kind of hard to find right now because the volatility today is much lower than what we were used to earlier this week. Yeah, you're just seeing a lot of sideways, and that's not good for a banker's close. Although we do have some, it's just not what we've been looking for. Okay, so everything. I think the Euro Franc was the best that I saw. So let's go ahead and start shorting this guy. I'm just going to get a couple in here, a couple of shorts in. Okay, and then let's zoom into that 1 minute. Actually, before we zoom into the 1 minute, let's draw our lines out. So we're already at a pretty significant resistance. There's other resistance right here, and there's a resistance right up here. So those would be kind of the levels we would be, and actually right there as well. Those would be kind of the levels we'd be looking to break throughout the trade. Okay, I need to, if this is the top, I need to get some more in here. I'm going to add a few more cells. Okay, that's probably fine. They're just not very volatile today. And technically, the setup for this would have been much better had we been selling like right in here, because that actually punctured the upper Bollinger Band. So we're kind of pushing it a little bit, to be honest. And part of it's just because we just don't have volatility. There's just nothing really moving today. Normally around this time, you'd see candlestick after candlestick after candlestick expansion, right? And we're just not seeing that. So it might be a little more difficult. We'll still make it work. We'll make our money today, but it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Especially because this may create a high up here. It may not. I'm honestly thinking that this market probably doesn't have enough power, based off of what it's done throughout the day, to create a new high above this. And if it does, we better short all of it, because it's not going to stay up there. I'd actually be pretty happy if it did, because then that would give us a lot of better, we would get really good pricing if it did bust through this resistance. But I think this late in the day, it'd be really hard, especially not just because it's late in the day, but because of the history of the day and where the market's been. It's been so slow that I don't know if you would get the big, move out of the market that we'd want. So anyway, nonetheless, we'll try. When I looked this morning at my watch list of all 28 major currency pairs, none of them had moved over 1% today. And that's really not very common. Most currencies, at least several currency pairs in a day, will move over a 1% move. And we just didn't see that on any pair today. And that's why I'm saying the volatility is really low. I think it's Friday. There's a holiday in China this weekend. There's bankers or not bankers close, what's it called? The non-farm payrolls over. It's been done for like 2 hours now, almost 3 hours. And so I think a lot of bankers have taken the early weekend. And especially because there's a China holiday, and let's see, in fact, let's see, I think there's something else going on too. Yeah, there's a bank holiday for Canada, well, and us on Monday. Yeah, so yeah, it's just kind of a longer weekend. So I think a lot of people have kind of clocked out early. Okay, so that's why I said let's load up a little bit more like we did, because this may be the high. That might be the best we get all morning. And we're already profitable on several of these trades, up a pip or two on each one. Most days our best trade will make 20 to 30 pips. Today might be a little more difficult to get some move like that. We might have to be content with just a 10 pip gain on each trade type of thing. It's just fine. Like we'll make it work. Where's the mid Bollinger Band right now? So this is where it's at currently, and I'll draw a line. So that's where it's at. So if the market were to drop right now, that's where we'd want to target, and we'll just want to readjust that in the future. But you can see that's not a lot of, yeah, like I said, 10 pips. I mean, from where we got in, it's like 13 or 14 pips. But yeah, we'll just have to be content with a smaller gain today. I mean, technically it's less risk as well, isn't that? I mean, that's a good thing, but sometimes you want to have a little bit more risk involved so that opportunity can really be, so you can make a lot more money on the opportunity. And what we might also see, something that I'm watching here as these candlesticks form, we might just see a big long, box like this, a consolidation, before you get, we might see a repeat of what happened over here. So where it just consolidates for nearly the whole hour, and then it just comes down after that. So just be prepared, get your book out, and I'll let you know if something big changes, but this might be kind of a slower banker's close opportunity. Let me draw out these vertical lines. So this is technically where we started, or where you're allowed to start looking for opportunities. It's not necessarily right at the hour, but pretty much around the start of the hour is when you want to look for opportunities. And then right here would be the close. So we have all this time to add to the position. That box right there. Now, while we wait for this guy to do its thing, actually, I'm gonna stay close to it, just because if it does make another high, we really do need to take advantage of those new highs, so that we can dollar cost average into the position. But yeah, if this starts coming down again, I want to go take a look at our trade from yesterday. Some interesting stuff happened with it. I don't know if you guys saw, but not long after the webinar was over, it did go down a little bit more. We hit a few more targets, and then it went up. I don't know if you saw that, Rodney, or anybody else, but it's really interesting. Okay, I'm going to keep my hand on the trigger here, because again, if it makes a new high, we got to take advantage of those. I'm going to grab another trade. And again, I just have my hand on the trigger because we're close to a new high. And, if you get a quick candlestick up and it wicks back down, you'll miss it. So you want to make sure you have your kind of hand on the trigger to take advantage of that. If it starts to make new highs. Yeah, it was crazy. I hopped on Forex Factory and kept refreshing, because you don't usually see those unless there is some kind of news, and I couldn't find anything. Even an hour later, I kept updating Forex Factory, and nothing in the forums, nothing on the official site news, nothing like that. So it was just kind of crazy, but sometimes the market just gets manipulated like that. And it honestly made for a second banker's close opportunity. I mentioned yesterday in the Telegram that I was tempted to do it again, but I didn't. I wish I had done it now, but yeah, and we'll recap that trade in just a second too. Once we have our position and this is done expanding, we'll go ahead and recap that one. Yeah, yesterday was a little bit slow with how long it took to come down. Today, I hate to say this, but it will be a little slower, just because of the volatility that we have to work with. But it's okay. We'll make it work. All right, I'm going to put my hand off the trigger now because it looks like it's made a couple of candlesticks lower. So, that might be the new high for a little bit. And we'll see if it makes another one. But yeah, we're right up against that old resistance. And again, if it busts above, if it breaks above that old resistance, that's fine. We'll we can absolutely respond. And honestly, I kind of hope it does. I know that's kind of weird to say, but you've been here enough to see this, but sometimes it's kind of nice when it breaks and it kind of makes a new high, because that new high provides an opportunity for some excellent pricing. But yeah, either way, we'll make it work. Let's jump to the 5 minutes, see where that mid Bollinger Band is. So it's moved up just slightly. So again, you want to kind of readjust, where your kind of general target might be. So I would say right there now is where my general target would be based off of this. And so, yeah, it's moved up a little. So, we've got even less profit to make today. Our best trade stands to make 13 pips or so. So, and that's fine, we'll make it work. Well, let's see. I'm going to let this sit for a second. I'd like to go just generally look at that euro pound. We'll keep an eye on this from yesterday. Yeah, I was right in here, wasn't it? So you and I got in, we started getting in on this bar right here. And then basically we sold, and then it just started coming down in the webinar. We made 23 pips perhaps on the best trade. And then we got out, most of our position was out at that point. We brought our stop losses to break even on a few of those. In fact, let me zoom in. Let's go ahead and plot these trades so you can see, where the action took place. Actually, I think I traded it on another account. This is a different account this morning, so it may not actually be here. Yeah, that's right. So, basically, yeah, most of our profits were made on that move down, and then this happened again. And again, it's not necessarily a terrible thing. I mean, this was kind of unexpected, that single bar up, but this is still within the banker's close opportunity, and there was no news causing this. So because of that, this technically could have been a re-entry. Like if you wanted to sell along this, you could sell along that and you'd still be fine and let it just fade out through the afternoon. I didn't do that, but I'm just saying that it's not the end of the world if that happens. Like if we were still in the webinar, we could have responded to this and continued. However, we had closed most of our profits at that point because we had already hit the mid Bollinger Band right here. That was enough to say, okay, let's get out of the trade, because we had already made our money at that point. But yeah, it pretty much faded until now, right? Like it's all day it faded from that high and just kept going down and down and down. And then it's made a comeback now, a little bit of a comeback. And I was tempted to trade this one as the banker's close today, but we really didn't, if you look at it, this one's not hitting the upper Bollinger Band during the time frame that we want it to, whereas the Euro franc is, or is, pretty close. So, if you were to get into this guy and start selling, you don't have a lot of room for profit right here, right? Because that would be your target. What you want is a market that's all the way up here, puncturing through that upper Bollinger Band so that it can start coming down. And there's a lot of profit to be made there. Yeah, let's jump back to that Euro franc. And we'll just keep our focuses over here. All right, let's see if it makes another high here. It's just kind of slowly grinding up at this point. And just sideways. In the meantime, while we're just waiting for that to do what it wants to do, let's go ahead and pull these targets up to a more realistic level. I just have them defaulted to 100 pips. I don't know why I do that. I just do. It's not for any particular reason. I guess I could change that. Yep, so kind of through here. In fact, we may want to take profits kind of early on some of these. Plus, we don't have any cleanup trades, so we don't have any losses to cover today, which is a bonus. We might need that to be able to still make a decent profit with this slower moving market. Yeah, and we'll just kind of scatter these out. Oh, here we go. We got a nice bar. Here we go. Let's see. What are we going to do? No profits, though. We didn't take any profits, but just a bar all of a sudden. That's the most exciting thing that's happened this morning. It's the biggest bar for sure. Okay, we just took one for 6.6. In hindsight, obviously, I wish I had put a bigger position on, but that's been pretty much every day this week. Maybe next week, that's an adjustment I make. Maybe I'll just increase my position size a little bit more, but because our risk has been pretty low, we haven't really had a big drawdown. I think Monday, or was it Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday was my biggest drawdown on this particular setup, and I think I was down at one point a full percent, which is not terrible. That's not the end of the world. But that was my worst this week. Everything else has really just been less than a quarter percent, less than a half of a percent risk at the worst point of the position. And then by the end of the day, most days we've made like a quarter percent of the account or more by the end of the day. And I think I have an appetite for a little more than that, especially if we're doing a pretty good job that way. So I might increase that. Especially today. Today it feels like, dang, I wish today feels like should have increased it by a lot because the volatility is so low, but at the same time, I don't want the volatility being low to change the way I trade, if that makes sense. And yeah, and just as a reminder, this is going to be just slow moving, it's just going to be kind of a back and forth tug of war, a little more than perhaps the other days. It's going to be a sideways movement for a while until the market breaks this range later. It could take a little bit, just so you know. Like I said, this one back here, actually there's a couple. There was a range right here that took a little bit to break and come lower, and then this range took a little bit before it actually came lower as well. But if we get another candlestick like that other one, we might close out of most of our trades here in just a few minutes. Any fun plans this weekend, Rodney? You doing anything? I'm gonna head to I'm going to Las Vegas tomorrow, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna go to watch a football game down there. So how much for you? Sometimes that's the best weekend though, just not having a lot. That's kind of nice. Just relax. Okay, so what's this guy gonna do? We're gonna break this. It is engulfing the previous candle, so that's a good sign. Could be the one that busts through. Come on, I know you can do it. We've already broken, oh, there we go. We just took another one. We've already broken this little trend that was drawn out right here. And so that technically that's a broken trend line. So, I mean, the market has permission now to go ahead and break. You can see that that's actually pretty well established. Like it connected, nearly connected here. Well, let's see, almost there, connected here, connected here, connected here, connected here, and then broke right here, retested. You can see the retest of that trend line. Retest fell, and now we're engulfing the previous candle. So we might actually see a sharp turn down, I imagine. I don't think the market will be able to get back up to that I don't think it'll be able to at least break through the trend line. It might try to retest it again, but I don't think you'd ever get the market to come up and go above that line. I'd be very surprised if it did. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking this at any moment could just fall apart, which would be great. I'd love to close out of most of these. We can wrap up early, just get our profit and go. All right, let's see. This is looking close. Just such a slow grind, slow grind. Here we go. Come on. You can do that. This one's gonna go all the last three. I just noticed is the last three bars have engulfed, last three bear bars have engulfed their counterparts. Let's see, this one's currently engulfing. We'll see if it ends that way. Then it was, green, and then we had another blue bar. It engulfed the previous green bar, and then you have another blue bar and engulf the previous one, and then the pattern stops at that point. But yeah, the last three have. So yeah, I just feel like with all the stuff we talked about, I feel like this has gotta, I feel like the permission has been given to the market. Go ahead and just make one more low. All the technical is there for another low. I think it would have had it been any other day. Friday's just slow, at least this Friday, especially with the longer weekend. Here we go. Okay, it just took one more. Let's see. Come on, fall through. Let's go. Okay, also, we haven't checked this in a hot minute. Let's take a look. Where's that mid Bollinger Band on the 5 minute? And we are getting pretty close. So right there. So we'll probably want to move some of these targets up, honestly, because we're getting right there. May even close some of these out manually. I may leave just for fun. I may leave 1 or 2 trades. In fact, let me grab this guy. Let me leave one as more of a hopeful trade to get down to here to see if we can expand that. What we'll do is before the end of the webinar is we'll bring all of our stop losses, the ones that remain, to break even or even a little bit of profit, and just see if we can get a runner through the rest of the morning. Kind of expand that profit a little bit more if possible. Come on, I just want one more cut. Here we go. Take it. Take them. There we go. Take them. That's it. Oh, yes, perfect. Perfect. That's what we wanted. Okay, perfect. So we'll leave this guy. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay, we'll leave this guy. I'm thinking right here looks good to me. This support area, maybe just a little bit higher. See if we can expand that just a little bit more. I'm going to bring this stop loss to just a little bit of profit. And again, it's just our hopeful trade. I got a lot of stuff on my chart. Sorry about that. Let's bring this guy in and adjust that. And again, this is just a free trade. We want to see if we can expand this just a little bit more. I'm just going to put basically the stop just above some of these highs. That's enough to cover the spread and still maintain profitability. But yeah, just let that one kind of run through the morning just as kind of a free trade. But yeah, the trade's over. We made our money, which is great. This was fun because yesterday we had to wait a little. We closed out of most of our trades by the end of the webinar, but I think it was Wednesday we were able to close out of everything, which was great. And today was very similar. Just not as many pips involved, right? Because most other days you'd make like 20 pips per trade by the time you closed out. Whereas I think today, most of these closed out for anywhere between as low as like 6 pips to as high as maybe 11 pips, 10 pips, something like that. So not as many pips to work with today, but still a good day, right? And we'll take it. So we have 71.6 pips clocked in. Those are, we have those. This one's only up 11 and may expand. Let's see, it has another, we could let this ride a little bit longer, another 4 or 5 pips, and then we'll close out at that point. But yeah, that was a fun little banker's close today. Every day this week was profitable. We didn't have a losing day, which I think is awesome. Each day made its money. We had fun each day, so I'm excited. I was happy to see that. And also just one thing I wanted to touch up on, like why the banker's close happens. I had somebody ask me this question the other day. Hopefully they can see the recording. If not, I'll cover this next week. But basically what happens is these banks, they have to reconcile, especially the banks out in Europe. So Deutsche, Credit Suisse, Barclays, those guys have to reconcile their books by the end of the day. And because they have to reconcile their books, they have people who get margin called. They have their own trades that they have to close out, especially before the weekend. So it's not just a close of the day, it's a close going into a longer weekend, right? And so any profits that were made, especially on this move to the upside, causing this phenomenon where it hits the upper Bollinger Band, over the course of the larger part of the morning, they have to kind of reconcile those positions and they can't just leave them open. And so in order to do that, they have to take a little bit of a profit on some of those. Some of them they take losses on too, just depends on where they are with things on their books. And then that subsequently causes a short-term reversal. It causes a short-term reversal in the market, and or what's also known as a fade trade. So we get this little fade opportunity, and it typically happens between, you've got an hour before the close where that kind of takes place. It can happen earlier, which this week we noticed a lot of those opportunities took place earlier in the morning, or earlier in the opportunity at least. And then when you get closer to the actual close, sometimes the money is already made. Like today was an example of that. Other days you kind of need to let them sit outside the close. They're still not quite done with the trade opportunity. but yeah, definitely a fantastic day. I'm excited. I'm happy with the profits that we were able to make with this, and we'll let this last guy run. On Monday, it is Columbus Day, so that's a holiday for us. I don't believe, let's check here. I don't know who else has a holiday. So it's Canada and the United States. Sunday is a holiday in Japan. It's just a long financial weekend in the market. We could meet together, and yeah, you know what, let's still have our class on Monday, just because I'm eager to get back at this. I mean, I already can't wait for Monday. I'd love to do this again. But yeah, let's meet on Monday. We might have to be kind of a little more strategic at which pairs we choose. Again, nothing related to the dollar, nothing for nothing to the dollar, nothing for the CAD today. Or there will be nothing on the dollar, nothing on the CAD opportunities on Monday. So the only trades we would be able to take would be just the pound, the euro, or the franc. Those would really be your only options. So we'll be looking at things like the euro pound. We'll come back to this pair, the euro franc, and try to trade one of these. Hopefully it has an opportunity for us. If not, we may just have to not trade on Monday. But I think we will find something, which will be the hope. Rodney, I actually have a commitment today. I need to postpone that class. I'm thinking about doing that. That class today at noon is just it's going to be like a basic training class, and it's going to cover different concepts, not caught report, not banker's close. It'll cover things like support and resistance. It'll cover chart patterns to watch for, cover trend lines, that kind of stuff. We'll probably continue to do that class on Fridays, but today I have some stuff I need to get to. I have some errands that I have to get to today. And so I won't be able to host that class this afternoon, but I'm not going to just cancel it. I think I'll just post it for Tuesday or something like that. Well, all righty. I appreciate your attendance today, guys, and thanks for coming. And also shout out to everybody in the recording. Thanks for coming, and enjoy your weekends.